What's goody? Hey man, ignore the hair, ignore everything, ignore the robe, ignore it all because I was coming out here today and I was gonna make this video last night. I was gonna make a video talking about Wembanyama and how he's insane and how he's basically about to take over the NBA because if you didn't watch what Wembanyama did last night, you need to go watch it. There was a lot of phenomenal hoops on last night. I watched the Pelicans Grizzlies game. I watched the Cavs Knicks game. The Raptors won by 1,000. I watched the last couple minutes of Celtics Sixers. I was watching Mavs Spurs. I was watching a bunch of games last night, right? Everything was going on. A lot of these games were phenomenal games. A lot of them ended up being super close finishes. It was a great night of hoops. I ended up finishing the night getting on 2K with the homies. It was a great night last night, right? And the one thing that stands out to me from that night last night was Victor Wembanyama. The dude is insane. Like, full stop. If he had a team that could be a top 5 seed out west, he's the MVP right now. Full stop. Like, just off that one performance. I understand it's one performance, but you have to understand. In that one performance, he's going against a team that is supposed to be one of the best defenses in the NBA and is going up against the guy that I picked to come in second in DPOY this year, Anthony Davis, and he put up 45, 15, 3 blocks. Like it was insane. At halftime, the man had 21-7 and I think 2 blocks. They were down for a majority of the first half, and then in the second quarter, he does something to Anthony Davis where he ISOs this man and he hits him for, it might have been in the first quarter. He hits him with like 4 counters on one isolation, finishes the isolation with an ugly fadeaway jump shot that I didn't think was going in. It ends up not only going in, but being an and one, and he hits the free throw. It was right then and there that I knew they were going to win this game, and it was right then and there that I knew Victor Wembanyama was about to have one of those seasons that was about to make everyone that was about to prove everyone who had been projecting him into the top 5 for this year right. Not only based on last night is he going to be a top 5 player this season, he is going to be top 5 in MVP votes because the man is insane. And as much as I want to continue to glaze Wemby, continue to glaze what he did against, again, a phenomenal defense and a phenomenal defender individually in Anthony Davis, there's 2 more pressing subjects that we have to talk about this morning with the NBA. 3, really. Their names are Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Malik Beasley-Condon. I want to make this very clear. As a writer for USA Today Sportsbook Wire, I have no problem with sports books. I have no problem with sports betting. I have no problem with any of it. I do not think there is any problem with somebody that loves sports, that loves to watch sports, going out there and saying, hey, I watch sports all the time. I know a lot of stats about sports. It's a tough economy we live in right now. It's a tough world we live in right now. Maybe I want to put $5 down on this game, and I want to see if I can win $60 by predicting if I can win $60 on a $5 bet by predicting Vanderbilt's going to beat Alabama. That happened to me last year. It was just an example, right? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with people gambling. If you want to gamble your money, if you want to spend your money, do you, okay? I do recognize that we are at a point now in society where it gets too far, where people are literally threatening athletes because of their performances as it relates to their parlays, things like that. I've personally placed parlays where I've had Giannis to go for 30 points and 12 plus rebounds against the bad Toronto Raptors, and he scores 14 points. This happened to me last year, okay? I've had it happen. And I do not believe there is ever an excuse for anybody to go talk to a player or anything like that about sports betting. But I say all that to say the NBA is going to have to do something about this, about sports betting. I don't mean about these players. They're getting arrested by the FBI. Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier just got arrested by the FBI. I don't think they give a damn about what Adam Silver's about to say unless he's about to take some more money out of their pockets. I don't think he gives a damn about what they're about to say, about what Adam Silver's about to say. But Adam Silver and the NBA have to reevaluate their relationship with gambling. I understand that the sports book, sports betting, that whole market, all those deals, all of that stuff generates an insane, obscene amount of money for companies like the NBA, NFL, ESPN, MLB, NHL, all of this. I understand that sports betting makes them so much money, and being sponsored by companies like DraftKings and BetMGM and FanDuel, all of this stuff is phenomenal for them. I get it. But at a certain point, we have to respect the integrity of the game. And at a certain point, when it's at least one player a year that's coming out that either gets just allegations or actually gets arrested and punished for gambling on themselves, their team, or the NBA in general, when this is happening at least once a year, we have to do something about it. Something has to change. Our relationship with these gambling agencies, our relationship with gambling itself has to change. At the same time, I'm not putting all of this blame on the NBA, but what I am saying is we can't continually promote gambling and sports betting and doing all of these things when it's shown that your own players can't show self control. When these guys can't show self control to not bet on themselves, these guys who are millionaires, these guys who are supposed to love the game, these guys who are supposed to respect the integrity of the game and are supposed to be the best players on the planet Earth, if these guys are continually proving that they don't respect the game enough to bet on it, they don't respect the game enough to not bet on it and to not just like love their careers enough to just play in the NBA, because why that can't be enough is another thing I'll talk about in and of itself in a second. But man, at a certain point we have to look at the NBA and be like, okay, we can't just let this keep happening, keep banning players, keep sending players to jail, because at a certain point it's a problem on the it looks bad for the NBA. So the NBA has to do something. I think we've gotten to that point now. And especially if something ends up going further and further with this Malik Beasley thing, I think something absolutely has to happen, because there's no way that I should wake up on a random Thursday morning 2 days into the NBA season and the first thing I'm thinking about is Victor Wembanyama. And then I check my phone. Well, not the first thing I'm thinking about, but you understand, when it comes to hoops, the first thing I'm thinking about when it comes to hoops is, all right, boom, first thing I'm going to do start the day, record this Victor Wembanyama video. And then I check my phone and I'm looking at it and I see the homies are talking about what? ESPN said what? Twitter's blown up about what? This happened an hour ago. What? This shouldn't be happening this consistently. It shouldn't. And then the second thing I have to say here, because it's not all on the NBA, because these are grown men, especially in the case of Chauncey Billups, who is a 50-year-old man at the very minimum. Why are we this greedy? And I'm not judging you as a person, because I am a sinner too. I make mistakes. I have done lustful things, greedy things, envious things, judgmental things, vengeful things. I have absolutely. Please do not get me wrong. If every single person in the world had all their sins just splattered out on their forehead like an essay, all of us would be disappointed in ourselves, okay? So I'm not judging Chauncey Billups. I'm not judging Malik Beasley. I'm not judging Terry Rozier. I'm judging the act itself, because I don't get it, first of all. I understand the power of sin. So I'm not trying to sit here and say that I don't get why a multimillionaire would allow for themselves to get to the point of gambling on themselves and losing their entire career and risking losing all of those multi-millions. I get how you get there, because sin is one of those things that as you let it into your life, it'll creep in and creep in and creep in until it gets to a point where you can't control it. Until it gets to a point where you're doing stuff that you never thought you would do, because your sin got you to a point where you're now relying on yourself to fix it instead of God. That happens. I understand how you get there. While it isn't great, it's part of the human experience. We are human beings. We make mistakes. We stray from God. I get how that happened. But I don't at the same time. It's kind of what I'm trying to say. It's like, I'm not trying to say this in the wrong way. It's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, at the same time, I don't get how you're doing it, why you're doing it, or how it started. If you're one of these guys, because it's like Chauncey Billups, for you, I could maybe see it because you probably started before you were coaching. So if it was one of those things where the habit was probably already there, and then by the time you got to coaching, it was probably too hard for you to stop, even if it was illegal. If I had to guess, that's possible. It's speculation, but it's possible. But with Terry Rozier, it's like this stuff, it seems like this stuff just started. It seems like, I don't know, but it seems like it if you look at his play and everything like that. And I just kind of feel like when there's a 2-minute clip compilation on Twitter that I can go pull up right now of Terry Rozier bad plays from one game against the Cleveland Cavaliers last season, where it looks like he's purposefully throwing the game. If I can go find one 2-minute compilation of one player doing that from one game last year, what is going to keep happening in the future? Are we going to have a 40-minute compilation in 5 years of NBA players that gambled in their lowlights from the season before they got caught? How they got, like, that shows, like, oh yeah, this was so obvious. These guys are idiots, because the NBA was obviously going to notice that these guys who were throwing the ball to the other team and running back before the other team even has it, because they knew they threw the turnover. Oh yeah, they're obviously freaking cheating. The NBA has to do something. There has to be better regulations about this. The NBA has to be able to do something about this. They have to. I don't know if that means, because I know the league is never going to cut its ties with gambling completely, and I'm not even going to necessarily say that it needs to, just because of a few bad apples. But at a certain point, we're putting money over the integrity of the league, and I think with every new case that comes out, we get closer and closer to that point where I'm going to start to say we're putting money, endorsements, the growth of the league over the integrity of the sport, the integrity of the league itself. And I think that's never a good thing. Let me know what y'all think, man. I love you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for always. Keep God first no matter what. All right. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, man. Insane. Peace out.